I'm Scott with Spinner, sitting with the lovely Miss Feist. Thank you. If you only had one word to describe the new record to someone that had not heard it, what would that word be?
Audible?
You can actually hear it.
Yeah, I probably would not try to color their possible first interpretations of listening with any of my own opinions.
Mm-hmm.
Anything I have to say about the record is the record itself.
Mm-hmm.
So that lets me off scot-free, and I
Okay.
would just tell
Okay.
people that it's listenable.
It's listenable.
It's audible.
Good. Who is your favorite Canadian personality, and why?
Wow, that's interesting. I just had this Rolodex of faces pop in front of my eyes. An obvious guess would be someone like Sheila Rogers, who you probably don't know anything about.
No.
Because she's a radio personality in Canada. And she came out of the radio that was on our kitchen counter my entire childhood. I heard this woman's voice, this good-natured, good-humored woman.
DJ, like
She's just
music DJ, or
no, well, both. But really, Canada's public. It's maybe a bit like NPR, although I don't know much about NPR. But I was at the Junos, which are Canada's mini Grammys, miniature version. Yeah, and I heard this voice behind me in the room, and had this crazy, like when you smell something and it's bringing back childhood memory kind of thing. And I just know that voice. I know that voice. I know that voice as if it's my mother's voice or something. And then I turned around, and I'd never seen this woman before, but I knew right away it was Sheila Rogers. So I had this sort of thrill of almost as if the woman had been reading me stories all my life, you know?
Right.
Just talking about anything that was to do with our country, you know? So yeah, Sheila Rogers.
All right, that's a good one. The remix of Musha Boom that the Postal Service did, how did that come about?
I'm sure there was some backroom dealings that I'm not privy to. But as far as I knew, there was, a remix appeared before me. It was, for me, kind of an introduction to Postal Service. I'm a Canadian, and I live in a box, and I don't know much about what's going on down here. But yeah, and I heard the remix they did, and they kind of slowed the song down and used my original vocals, and I really liked what they had done to the rest of it. So I re-sang the vocals to be at the same tempo.
You remixed the remix.
I had to, because I felt so. It was not a sleepy thing, but they had slowed it down, and so my voice was a bit sleepy. So I sang it again.
Tell us a good story about being roommates with Peaches. A good Peaches story, because I know there's got to be a lot of them.
Well, you know, it's so. Her and I saw her last week, and we were reminiscing about how long ago it's been now. It was 7 years ago that we lived together. So I can remember, you know, making dinner as much as I can remember the antics on, you know, hanging out in hammocks in the summer on the roof deck, you know, her making her album Teaches of Peaches in her bedroom, and me 4-track demoing in mine. And I mean, we were sort of coming from such opposite ends of the scale.
Right.
And when we met, we were kind of heading towards what we really should be doing. I started playing kind of hardcore, really loud. I was a teenager, you know, antics, sort of, you know, rock and roll but not, punk but not, you know, early 90s mixed up, don't really know what you're doing, kind of loud music. And she started playing in an acoustic duo. And when we lived together, we were kind of en route to making what we really wanted to be making. So when we lived together, it wasn't actually that extreme of what now people would feel, you know. And even now, it's not that extreme, you know. She's just someone who's making exactly what's the truth to her, you know. I think she likes to push buttons, but she's doing it from a very honest place. She's not a sensationalist. She's really she's Peaches through and through.
Give us a fun fact about Canada.
I've often said that Canada is more about the space in between the cities than the cities themselves. I mean, the cities are what they are. They house a lot of people. Each of them has some kind of character, but for the most part, Canada is so enormous. It has so much, these enormous tracts of land in between. You know, it's really a farming and camping and, you know, it's just so many kilometers there untold, you know. So that's kind of whenever anyone says they want to go to Canada, I always say, okay, take a road trip from here to here, and make your time in the cities be the minimum.
Right. Has it come in handy traveling, being able to say that you're from Canada? Because I know traveling when there's times.
Yeah, there's a kind
People
of
love
worldwide
Canadians.
benevolence towards Canadians. It's true. I get a bit of get out of jail free card with that one. Yeah.
Heard you talking a little bit about breakfast earlier. Why are Canadians experts at breakfast?
That's a really good question. I don't know. Maybe the cold Canadian winters or something. So it's a lot of bread at breakfast.
Yeah.
In
What's
Canada.
the typical Canadian?
There's a lot of pancakes and the maple syrup thing. Which this year my goal in next spring is to go and tap the maple syrup, which is the ultimate Canadian thing that I've never done. It's just before the lilacs come out. It's in the spring, early spring, when the trees are just unfreezing, and they tap in a little, basically a faucet into the tree.
So that's all. Good luck, tour, record, etc.
Thank you.
And that's all.
Okay.
All right.